School is out, Ryan, but guess what? The kids are still in. That's right. To offer us some guidance on how to handle this potentially difficult summer is Dr. Eileen Kennedy-Moore. Hi, Dr. Eileen Kennedy-Moore. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
What are we going to do with these vampire teens? These kids have all turned into vampire teens. They're up all night. They're sleeping all day. What do we do to get them on track?
Oh my gosh, that is so annoying for parents. We tend to view it as a sign of laziness. They're wasting the whole day. But really what's happening is that their natural biological clock for teens is shifted later. Plus, they have a very normal desire to get together with their friends without adults hanging around. May that be their worst rebellion. It helps kids to live in our time zone if they have a reason to get up in the morning. I'm working with a high school boy now who just recently started getting together with some of his buddies for a socially distant workout in the park. They started meeting at noon, and little by little, they're inching their way earlier.
Very cool.
And what about, when I was a kid, my room was, now as an adult, I keep everything neat. As a kid, my closet was a mess, my room was a mess. So for parents who can't get their children to tidy up their space, what do you say?
That is another big aggravation for parents. So often when kids have a very messy room, it's because they feel overwhelmed. They have too much stuff and they just don't even know where to begin to clean it up. So try offering to help them dig it out. It may work to do little bursts of efforts rather than trying to sign them up for a marathon that's all painful cleaning. With teens, a messy room often reflects their messy feelings and changing identity. Luckily, as you said, Ryan, they often outgrow this.
You know, doctor, we have established a chore wheel in our house now. We only have two teenagers, and then we also have 3 young adults. There's 5 kids in our house and the 2 of us. And we've established a chore wheel where everybody has a chore of their week. Like, you know, somebody's vacuuming, somebody does the dishes, somebody does the laundry, somebody cleans the toilets, very unpopular one, and we switch. Do you think that's a good idea, or?
I think that's a fabulous idea. And there's actually research that when kids contribute to their families in meaningful ways, they feel happier. So that may not be a good argument to convince them to wash the toilet, but it's true. And it's very good for kids to be able to contribute and to see that their efforts matter for more than just themselves. It's for everybody.
Well, what
At the beginning of this pandemic, we said that kids could have unlimited, unfettered screen time. You know, we were like just trying to, I guess, try to normalize the situation as much as possible. Now, should we start trying to wean them off so they start behaving more like active participants in the family, or just let them keep staring at their friends online?
This has been hard because so much of their life has been online. School, friends, everything has been online. One thing you might want to try is ask your kids, what do you think is a healthy amount of time to spend on devices? And you may be surprised at how reasonable their responses are. If you decide to do limits, it's easier to set up when the kids can or can't be on their devices rather than counting minutes, because you don't want to be in those annoying arguments about, I only got 17 minutes. Oh, that's annoying. But really, the best way to get kids off their devices is to help them find fun alternatives. With younger kids, what you can do is brainstorm with them, come up with a whole bunch of ideas, write them down on pieces of paper, and stick them in a things to do jar that they can consult whenever they need it. Be specific. So you could say things like make a microwave mug cake, or practice cartwheels, or create a giant spider web out of strings, something that's fun and interesting and different that they could do. You also, at this point, might want to be thinking about socially distant ways that your kids can get together with friends. This could mean going for a bike ride or kayaking, or just sitting outside 6 feet apart so that they can chat in person. There's a special energy that comes from seeing somebody face to face that just doesn't come through on the screen.
It's certainly, well, though, you're doing a good job. It's almost like we're there with you right now. So let's take a break and come back with more tips on how to parent this summer right after this. All right, Dr. Eileen, talking more about how to get through summer with your kids. It's an unusual, unconventional summer without the camps and the normal activities in many places. So what guidance do you have for parents who normally have kids that are so active in the summer?
Oh, this is so hard. And so many families have had to cancel vacation plans. The temptation here is to say, well, I'll just work all summer. Don't do that. We all need a break. But we may have to think about making it different today. So maybe you might want to do a day trip or a camping trip, or just plan a relaxing staycation. The more involved we can get the kids in coming up with what they want to do, the more cooperative that they will be. So have a family meeting and talk about what might make sense for our family this summer. A general schedule helps kids to know what to expect and what to do when you're not available, if maybe you have to be working. In some areas of the country, it might be safe to hire a babysitter or have your kids go to a day camp. You could also explore online lessons, but you may want to have your kids explore some of the old-fashioned summer fun ideas that you did when you were a kid. Things like running in the sprinkler or making popsicles or hunting for four-leaf clovers. Did you do that as a kid? I did.
Of course, we all did, but our kids know nothing about that because I actually said, if I said to my kids, go outside and look for a four-leaf clover, they might not even know what I'm talking about. They might think, they're like, you mean from St. Patrick's Day? Like, they
Right.
totally don't know what that means.
Well, maybe it's an Irish thing, but here's something I guarantee. I guarantee that pretty much every kid at some point this summer is going to be saying, I'm so bored, there's nothing to do. We don't have to protect our kids from boredom. The summer plans are great, but we don't have to be leaping in to create a circus for them. And when they do all this I'm so bored thing, if we leap in with ideas, you know what they're going to say. They're going to say, oh, that's boring too. So what we need to do is we can empathize. We can say, yeah, it's really frustrating that you can't do the things that you normally do. But mostly we just want to wait. And they will moan and they will groan and they will fling themselves down on the couch. But then something wonderful is going to happen. They'll think of something to do.
I thought you were going to say they're going to discover The Price is Right, which is what we always did in the summer as kids. The Price is Right was the greatest ever.
Right? We would make microwave Pillsbury pancakes and watch The Price is Right. Now, Doctor, don't comment on the pancakes.
Yeah.
But before you go, I'm just thinking about what you're saying, thinking about the times we're living in. It's been a complicated last several weeks and months with everything from protests to the pandemic. What advice do you have for parents who have kids that are feeling anxiety right now?
So this is very, very hard. And a couple of thoughts. First, I had a mom recently ask me, should I insist that my teenager join the younger kids for family game night? And my answer was, only if you want to be the target for all of her frustration and sadness and worry about the summer. So with teens, we want to invite rather than insist, and we're more likely to get a better response for fun activities. But the other thing that we need to think about is the historical context that we're in. We are living in scary and heartbreaking and uncertain times, but we also have an extraordinary opportunity to talk to our kids about our values and our beliefs and to model for them how to respond. Especially maybe for white families where the parents might not have had a chance to or thought to talk to their kids about racism. This is the moment. This is the moment for them to understand that racism is not some historical thing, but it's a lived and painful reality for many people. And we are called to do a lot more than just try to avoid being racist. We need to be actively anti-racist. Kids all of us long for a sense of meaning, of purpose, and community. Here it is.
Good for you, Dr. Eileen Kennedy-Moore. 100% agree with you. This is an opportune time. It's unprecedented family time, and a time to really educate ourselves and our children about that very important issue of racism in this country currently.
And to take action in ways that are meaningful and productive.
Absolutely.
100%. Yep.
Doctor,
good for you.
Thank you very much. Great conversation. Some wonderful tips for parenting this summer. Dr. Eileen Kennedy-Moore's new free ebook. It's called Growing Friendships During the Coronavirus Pandemic. It's available now at all online bookstores. We will see you soon. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Stay safe. You know, I love Dr. Eileen Kennedy-Moore, but I still don't think my kids are going to go for the old four-leaf clover hunt in the yard. And I'm terrified of ticks. Can you imagine?
Like, between the ticks and the hornets, no!